Good morning. Today is Saturday, January 17th,
17th.
and this is an authentic conversation. I am Sonny Hamilton. I'm here with my co-hosts,
Aaron Hamilton.
John Walser.
and we have a lot going on. So I'm going to jump right in. Is this week, this past week, there was an episode of X22. It was episode 3818B, and I would highly recommend you go out and watch it. It's talking about the master plan is exposed for the deep state. It's talking about follow the money, and the money is super important. Really, really, really important. So I think
You always find the corruption when you follow the money.
Yep.
yeah. So 2 podcasts ago or whatever it was, in a previous podcast, we talked about what was it you were just saying? The dating sites.
Oh, the catfishing.
Catfishing. So X22 has exposed that, and Dave on X22, he was talking about how that there are women on the left who have set up a fake dating site in order to dox the ICE agents. They want to date them so that they can expose them, and hopefully they're wise enough to not do this. But this is almost worse than that. Well, I don't know. I mean, we're actually putting somebody's life in danger.
I think most of our ICE agents and Border Patrol, I think they're pretty well trained for stuff like that. But
Yeah, you think of though that's been going on forever where they use spies. I mean, they've always used because men's number one weakness is an attractive woman. So
true.
So it's
And this was an ad that they put out.
yeah.
The deep state put out an ad asking for women who want to get on a fake dating site in order to dox ICE agents.
They're good at putting ads out. They put out ads for that, and they put out ads for child actors.
Yeah.
Well, that was
It's-
Yeah.
It's crazy.
that was the interesting thing, and maybe I'm jumping ahead of things, but since it's applicable to this part of the conversation, was the billionaires who are seeking to destroy our country, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That is what they figured out, is how to put their money to better use than just donating to political figures, to elections. They've figured out as to how to put their money towards the advertising, how to put it towards the disrupting, how to do that.
Yeah, and X22 talks about this in depth. I've never watched an X22 report that was so informative. It was so much that I could not write it down fast enough. It was just that much stuff. So he talked about how that we know Obama deported
3 million.
3 million illegals. I mean, probably some 3-4 million. The difference was that a lot of those people were turned around at the border, and that was considered deportations.
Right.
So it's a joke.
So they were never really deported.
No, not
they weren't
really.
allowed in.
And what the deep state is doing, and the Democrats are doing, is they do not want to work with ICE, obviously. And even in, I think it was Obama's term, is that there was a CNN reporter who rode along with the ICE to see how they do it. This was CNN. They went along with ICE as they were deporting, pulling somebody, arresting them. They were fine with it then. uh, and talking about how they were going in, pulling somebody out of their home and stuff. But a lot of the deportations, the police were working with ICE. So when they would arrest someone and ICE would put a detainer and ask them to hold that criminal, they would hold them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to hold them anymore, especially these blue states. They do not. They want it. They purposely want that criminal put back on the street so that when ICE comes, that it is all of this chaos going on. They
Yep.
want it to look like they're ripping people from their homes. And
And it's to clog up the drive-by media.
Yeah.
it is. And so the Chinese sent $10 million to the drug cartels in Mexico. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting. Again, this is a lot of stuff that came out of X22. So,
I'll bet they gave him that $10 million because of how many boats we've blown up.
well, that's not Mexico. We're not doing that with Mexico.
No,
That's
that's what
uh,
who we just
Venezuela, I think.
yeah,
those,
yeah.
those
Venezuela.
cartels are all intertwined, is
No,
kind of
they
what I
are.
was saying.
They
you know.
are,
100%.
but yeah. So,
They could solve all the issue if they would just let the ICE people just take the bad guys when they're in jail. But
and
they don't want to do that.
and then we have. I'm sorry. Were you getting ready to say something?
Well, so, they're saying that it's not constitutional for ICE to go into these different states. But if you go back into the 1776 nation and read what he has put out as far as the guidelines, the outline.
Derek Johnson, we're talking about,
Yep.
right? Okay.
Yep. So this military operation has a blueprint, and you can go on 1776 and read it. And it shows all the laws and stuff that have been put into place, the executive orders and things.
Mhm.
And basically, because it's a military operation and we're in a continuity of government, that's what makes ICE and these different agencies able to go into these different states, because they're not operating under the Constitution. They're operating under a continuity of government. And so that
Wow.
totally changes the whole game.
So, and then they've talked about, uh, we saw some arrests that were made, and they're saying it was a white man. Well, it was definitely not a white man.
Black man, Mexican guys.
Yeah, it was somebody from another country. Obviously, they had brown skin. They were not a white man. I'm not racial profiling by any means. I'm just saying they were faking it, saying that it was a white person, or this one here was a Mexican when it was a black, or it was a black when it was a Mexican, and it's just crazy, stupid stuff that they're doing.
But the purpose for it was, I'm not sure if I remember that they were usually calling the other nationality white, because then they could get their numbers down, so it didn't look
Exactly.
like they had so many illegals committing crimes, or
Right.
so many Somalians committing crimes.
That's right.
It was
It
white
was to
men.
protect minorities.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
it was all just, once again,
Cook-
just
cooking the books,
phony.
so to
Yeah,
speak.
cooking
Right,
the books,
exactly.
making it phony.
And it was real obvious that it was not a
Kind-
white person.
Kind of like what the hospitals were doing
Yeah,
during
with
COVID. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's all about money.
Yep, all
Right.
about money, all about perception,
It's sickening.
manipulation.
So then we had the Congress had subpoenaed both Bill and Hillary to come in. No surprise, they did not show up. So now they're in contempt of Congress.
Yep.
I don't know if anything will happen to them, but that's what's going on.
If I was a betting man, I would put money that nothing will happen to them. They're the elite. They're the political elite, and it just seems like those kind just skate through, no matter how many suicides happen under their watch. And,
Yeah.
you think of how much they've skated through already, just unscathed.
Well, that's
So
true, but
if I eat crow on this, I'm happy to eat crow on this. But as far as we've come, and as many T's that have been crossed and I's that have been dotted, I'm going to say that they're finally going to start holding people accountable.
they
And I will eat crow also if I'm wrong, but I'm going to stick to my position.
Yeah, it's all good.
so I think
That's what makes
that-
us interesting.
Yeah, it does. But I truly believe we probably will get there. It's just
Going to take time.
so slow.
Yep.
And it starts with the lower people.
Yep.
And some of the lower people are being held accountable. It's just taken a long time. So Dave on X22 reported that Data Republican and reported that in 2017, a quiet meeting was held with this is what Darren was talking about, with some of the wealthiest families in the nation. These people were Soros, Koch, and that's Koch. I don't know how you pronounce that.
Yeah,
Koch or Cook,
It's Koch.
Yeah, it's
and
gotcha.
Rockefeller and Ford. Those were the main ones, but there's more.
Sure.
And they were to determine how they were going to spend their money, their wealth in politics. And so they quietly financed America's color revolution. Well, they
That the
won.
black, white, brown, white.
Yeah, they
hate
won
thing.
all of this
division.
stuff. Yeah, all
Yeah.
this. And they weaponized the Biden administration. And this was really interesting because I've never heard Dave from X22 bring this up. This was the first time, and we've heard Candace talk about Charlie Kirk a lot, but X22, I've not heard that. So that's what's really interesting, is that he said they specifically targeted Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA.
Mm-hmm.
That was very interesting.
You know
They
why?
could see the movers and the groovers.
Mhm.
He was very,
He was
very
effective.
effective.
Yeah,
He was effective, and they did not like that.
Mhm.
he was effective, and I think he was also. They could also see that he was turning away from their drinking their Kool-Aid.
Right.
Mhm.
And
so
Mike Gerzon it's all of these little connections, and when he says follow the money, it is serious. Follow the money, because Mark Gerzon, the head of Mediators Foundation, he's the one who started a lot of this stuff, and this was set as a censor of hate speech. Stephen Heinz is the architect for reinventing U.S. governance from the bottom up. I don't know who these people really are. It's not Heinz, but it's Heinz.
Heinz ketchup,
H-E-
not Heinz ketchup.
Yeah, Heintz, Stephen Heinz. And he planned to change the U.S. from a constitutional republic to a democracy. Goes back to a lot of what you were talking
Sure.
about before.
Sure.
Is what we talked about in previous podcasts.
Did you write down, and maybe you, John, know the difference? Because it's like splitting hairs between a democracy and a constitutional republic.
Actually, it
seems
isn't.
like.
No, it's not.
It
but
really isn't. So, democracy is two wolves voting on what's for dinner. Does that make sense? So if you
Okay.
have two wolves and a sheep, the two
Oh, I
wolves are
see.
voting on what's
Oh,
for dinner.
okay.
So, but a lot of the easiest way to talk about the constitutional republic is if you go to the it's inside the voting. Gosh darn it! No, I can't remember what you call it. Where
Has
each
it-
state has so many.
So many votes.
So this is what it says when I looked it up on AI, is a constitutional republic involves electing the people,
Yep.
electing representatives who will govern under a constitution that limits their power to protect the individual rights.
Yes.
That's a constitutional republic. A democracy says, and it's false, but they're saying it's ruled by the people,
No, it's not ruled
but
by
it's
the people.
really
Well,
not.
No.
But
No.
that's my point. When you look at the definition, they are kind of splitting hairs because they're both saying that the people
But
are in
it's
control.
not, because they're saying no representatives to govern, and a democracy is just ruled by the people, period.
So the Constitution was a contract with the people saying that, like, take the amendments, for example, that was the government at that time saying, we're not going to come after your free speech.
Mhm.
We're not going to come after your guns. We're not going to come after you if you assemble. We're not going to put soldiers in your homes. That was the contract of the government saying, we're not going to do this to you. So the Constitution was designed to limit the government, not the people, and it's been switched.
And the constitutional republic is to limit what you just said, limit their powers to
Mhm.
protect. This is to protect individual rights
Yep.
of the people. Now, when you talk about a rule by the majority, okay, so let's just look at this from a perspective of rule by the majority. So, New York and LA have the most, the biggest cities, right, in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So, if the majority were to say, oh, the majority of the people get to make the decisions, which, okay, that's where you're saying it's kind of splitting hairs.
Mhm.
But if you just say it's just based on the number of people in those particular cities, which if it were,
That's why they have
they would
electoral college.
decide.
That's what I was.
There you go,
That's,
yeah.
Yeah.
that's what I'm getting
So
to.
Kansas has
So-
just as much of a say as New York or Florida or Texas or California.
It's just California has a lot more.
But if you left
Right.
it up to just the population, that's why the Democrats want to get rid of the
That's
electoral
why they
college.
want to get. That's why they want to change it from a constitutional republic. So
Yep.
there's no more laws.
Yep.
There's no more constitution. There's none of this. They want it to go to a democracy. They seriously want to do away with your right to own a gun. They want to do away with your right or free speech.
Yep.
And so that's what they want.
And there's many countries out there that, Australia is a really great example. They took all their guns away,
Oh, so
Right.
they did in England too.
and in England.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They
Haven't
took.
they
So-
taken a lot in Canada?
Yes.
I mean, wasn't there buyback? Wasn't there?
Yep.
Yeah, they
So-
can't sell 9mm or something up there. They can't sell
Nine.
handguns or something.
I did not
Yeah,
know that.
I'm not real.
Yeah, it's really gotten bad. So then in in September of 2022, Biden gave a soul of the nation speech
Yeah,
targeting.
isn't that one where he was in front of the red background in front of the
I can't
some
recall.
building or something?
Possibly, I
And he
don't
looked like
remember.
the devil standing there talking.
But he was targeting Donald Trump,
Yeah.
and he declared MAGA Republicans as
Yep.
extremists.
Yep. I think
And
that's the same speech.
so he was said that the MAGA Republicans threatened the very foundation of the republic. But what it did is the MAGA Republicans threatened the very ideal of their democracy, where they wanted to do away with all of the Constitution, any rights you have that
Mhm.
we live with and appreciate in this country. So then 2 weeks after that speech, Biden established, I'm sure somebody was guiding him, but Biden established the United We Stand summit to combat extremism. Which extremism, do you ask? He's talking about MAGA.
Yeah. So I just need to point something out. So during Biden's presidency, and go back and research this, we were under the continuity of government. So everything that took place from the time Biden was inaugurated, which was a funeral, by the way, because there was only 3 cannons.
Funny.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
actually, that's something that
We'll
Derek
talk.
Johnson talks
Yeah,
about.
and we'll
Mhm.
talk about that more in another podcast.
Right.
But it,
Mhm.
and if you go back and watch President Trump at the airport, he had a 21 cannon salute. He was still the president of the United States because we're in a continuity of government. So
Mhm.
everything that's happening that she's talking about is all happening under continuity of government. So it has nothing to do with the Constitution at all.
So the United We Stand, then the so this is really important. So the Anti-Defamation League, or ADL, we're going to try to go back to ADL and remember this because it comes up a lot, is an organization that's fighting anti-Semitism, extremism, and bigotry. But it's increasingly seen as leaning way left because of its focus on the far-right extremism and the partnership with tech companies that they had, while also focusing or facing accusations from conservatives for being too aligned with progressive causes. So United We Stand sounds really good. It sounds like a conservative, but it's not. It's not at all.
Yeah, it's preaching unity, but there's really no unity. It's making up the race baiting, the most of
Yeah.
us in this country do not have an issue with other people's color.
Right.
I
No, we don't.
I think of we watch
Yeah.
every once in a while like these crazy Islamic women that get pulled over by a cop or whatever, and they're just screaming Islamophobe, Islamophobe.
Right.
Well, no, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything to do with it. If your religion is creating idiots, well, then I have an issue with that. But it's not. It's not that I have a issue with the color of your skin. I have an issue
Sure.
with the fact that you're an idiot.
It's the way you're acting.
Yeah,
Right.
it's how you're
and,
acting.
and that's the whole thing, is they start out and they start screaming, "Oh, you pulled me over. You targeted me because you're Islamophobic." And it's like, no, it had nothing to do with that. Didn't even know
You were
who
speeding.
you were. You were speeding. You were
you
doing
stole
whatever,
something.
whatever it was that they were doing. These ladies, especially the women. Now, what's interesting is that in the Islamic religion, if you want to call it that, or movement, the women really have no voice. They have no, but they can speak really mean and horrible to non-Islamic men. That's okay. That's okay. But they do not do that with the men of their religion. They're very,
Yeah, whacked.
yeah, they'll get whacked. Yeah, so
much for do unto others how you would want to have done to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
so
Yeah, so if they're representatives, if they're representing the Islamic religion, then I don't know why why we have to pretend that we do like the Islamic religion. I don't. I mean,
we
that's
don't
just
have to.
yeah. It's cruel. It's
Aren't there verses
treating-
in Corinthians that talks about something to the effect of not hanging out or being around bad people, corrupt people?
yeah. I can't
I
pull it out
can't
of
pull
my
it up.
mind.
I
but-
can't either, but I know there's something to that effect in there. I'll have to look that up.
But yeah, I mean, you think of Christ. He didn't hang out with people that disrespected him.
Sure.
He'd hang out with the good rednecks, publicans, and sinners.
Yeah. So the idea of the ADL was to hold a summit, and one of the 5 organizations that pressed the Biden administration to make it happen, there was, and that one was, was something to do with I'm not sure if I'm quoting this quite right, but the ADL collaborated with Soros, Koch, Ford, and Rockefeller, and formed and bankrolled United We Stand. Now, again, Soros is very left-leaning. Rockefeller, very left-leaning. I don't know Koch. And Ford, I don't really know too much about Ford. Maybe you guys know more.
I don't, but even Koch, I mean, the interesting thing to me was because when we tried to look a little bit, he supported conservative causes, but it's like Sonny was saying, well, but there are rhinos.
Yes.
Because if you're creating division, you're not good.
If it's the same Koch, they have a hardware division.
I think they're
know-
construction.
Yeah, they have like all kinds of tractor parts and
Yeah,
and
probably.
hitch pins.
Probably
and
is. It could be. I don't, without searching it right now, I wouldn't
You can
know.
go to
but
Murdoch's or North 40 or Big R, those
Mhm.
farm type
Oh yeah.
tractor supply. And if you go into those areas, that has a Koch sticker on it.
interesting.
So I don't know if
It probably is.
could be. That could very well be. So the Koch family obviously is very wealthy. And these people, these very wealthy families, they committed $1 billion. $1 billion to
Sonny
combat
listened to this part of
extremism.
the video about 15 times
I did.
because
I
we
could
couldn't
not
tell if
catch
it was million or billion, but I agree with her. It, even though my eyes were glazing over by then, it was.
He had to get up and walk away because it was like too much for him.
I was done.
The Southern Poverty Law Center also got involved, and they were
very left-leaning.
Oh, very left-leaning. And they were begging Susan Rice during the Biden administration to make United We Stand an enduring organization, and they had a long list of policy recommendations that they wanted. Merrick Garland, on that same day, announced a national-wide initiative to combat hate speech. And guess who they determined was doing hate?
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
MAGA.
Yeah.
I had a concern though when Pam Bondi and Trump were talking about enacting hate speech laws, because regardless of the side, I mean, obviously we're probably going to support the hate speech laws from the right, but most hate speech laws, I mean, they're all they do is just take more rights away from you, and you've got to be worried about what you might say. And
You gave me the perfect segue.
perfect. I love segues.
Frederick Douglass, and it does not give a year on when he said this, but this is a quote. No man can put a chain about the ankle of his fellow man without at least finding the other end fastened about his own neck.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. It goes back to it doesn't matter what philosophy a person uses. What was it Christ said? Do unto others as thou wouldst have them do unto you. Then we've got karma, and we've got what comes around goes around. And that is a big concern that I have every time I hear free or hate speech or whatever. It's like, well, what's your definition of hate speech? Just like me saying that, no, I don't have to like Islam if it's gonna do stupid things.
Yeah, hate speech. So when MAGA would say something about, just like you saying, I don't have to like Islam, well, they consider that hate speech.
Right. Has nothing to do with the person.
Hate speech, I think what they're trying to say now is, hey, we need to kill you. We need to kill you. I mean, they're talking about actually murdering people.
Right.
Do you think that's hate speech? I think it is. I think that's seriously hate speech. But anyway, so an article was published in November of 22 regarding United We Stand Summit, stating that there was an obstacle to accomplishing their goals. And those goals, the ones that the obstacles were Christian evangelicals and, again, specifically Turning Point USA.
Mm-hmm.
It fingered TPUSA due to their stubbornness. So when people were looking to find out who the real killers are of Charlie Kirk,
We should have said Charlie Kirk's stubbornness.
yeah. So when people are like, I'm even talking about like Candace, maybe she should start looking. This is what Dave from X22 said. So when people are looking to find out who the real killers are of Charlie Kirk, possibly start looking at United We Stand because they have a problem with TPUSA and they did not like Charlie Kirk.
Yep.
Really? Okay. So in December 2022, Merrick Garland issued a subpoena to TPUSA. In January 2023, ADL entered TPUSA in their Turning Point USA in their extremism database.
Boom.
Right there.
Yep.
And then Dignity.us,
They've just been here because that it goes to show what I'm trying to say, even with the free speech. Charlie Kirk was viewed, what he was saying is viewed as extremism. So it's who gets to determine what is extremism.
That's where I was just headed.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, it comes back to if you are threatening somebody's life, is that extremism?
Well, I think it's probably safe to say we all supported when there was talk of taking Saddam Hussein's life or Osama bin Laden's life.
Yeah,
And
but
so-
that we were also kind of duped on that.
Well, I know, I agree 100%, but that's the problem. When you start doing things like that, I have a feeling even on a lot of this stuff, we're kind of being duped when you see that there's billionaires, and I have a feeling that there's the same type of mentality on the right because we see it. It's just we happen to agree with it more.
Mhm.
It lines up with our thought process more. And so we have the
True.
same level of manipulation and whoops, excuse me, that's being fed to us on the right. And so I don't know, it just feels like one of those slippery slopes where there again, you start making this rule to put a chain around that person's ankle and it starts putting a chain around our neck.
So Dignity.us came out of United We Stand Summit, and it refers to a political advocacy group promoting civil discourse, or the Dignity Index and the Dignity Act, a bipartisan 2025 immigration bill that was put forth by two Democrats, offering temporary legal status, work permits, and no citizenship plan for long-term undocumented immigrants who pay fees and meet requirements. So they wanted to move that forward to get these people to be legal, even though they weren't going to get citizenship. So that was their plan. Amira, I looked it up and it's AMIRA. It's linked to Dignity.us as an original coder. And Amira, who's SLC Armed Queers, interesting, is under investigation as having foreknowledge of Charlie Kirk's assassination.
I wonder how he knew that. Did he? I don't remember. He didn't really go into that.
Oh,
did
he went into so much depth, and it was so hard to catch everything. That's why I said this was a huge drop of information.
It took Sonny an hour and a half to go through about
oh,
10 minutes,
at least.
maybe 10 minutes worth of stuff. And that's where I was kind of losing my mind a
Yeah.
little bit.
So back to Mark Gerzon, who coordinated the whole plan, the grand plan of the billionaires, who was the grand plan of the billionaires did not stop when the Trump administration took over. It immediately started prosecuting and weaponizing their efforts. So the Trump administration needs to follow the money, and they are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
They are doing that. We've seen that. There are innumerable ties to NGOs that were created to funnel the fraud money. And we've seen that in Minnesota. I know it's going to be even worse in California, probably New York. And interesting enough, there was a video that came out this week about the New York mayor,
Mandami.
Mandami. Yeah.
Hey, that's great. We got a new name for him.
He swore in on the Quran,
Yep.
and on the Bible.
Right.
But he also came out just this week and told Muslims, going to protect you first. You
Right.
guys are my priority. All these Christians, not
Well,
so
it's
much.
viewed as a good thing to go against the infidels. And we're considered the infidels. So so I don't know why it would surprise anybody that he's going to stick up for Islam, because that's his belief system, and where it's considered righteousness. And I don't know if this is a good place to interject this too, but that we saw that also when we look at all the fraud that's happening from the Somalis as just unbelievable.
Mhm.
But
That's
then
just
we
the
were,
tip of the
it's just
iceberg.
tip of the iceberg. But we were seeing where there again, it was basically viewed within their religion as righteousness, because, and I was telling John here before we started that if you think about, if you want to twist and spin the verses in the Bible, then it wouldn't take a lot of spinning, where it's talking about the talents. I don't remember where it is, but it's talking about the talents, and if you're not a good steward of your talents, then they're taken from you and they're given to those who were a good steward. And so if you think about that, because honestly, I think there's a lot of parallels between the Bible and the Quran. It just depends on what you're looking for in there. And so if they're viewing it as righteousness because their God, their Allah, is blessing them by taking from us who are the infidels, then they're seeing it as a righteous thing. So they're not even seeing it as a bad thing. And I think that's disturbing,
Mhm.
but it's also very important, I think, to see it.
So now we understand why the Democrats are constantly talking about democracy, because they want to eliminate the republic. They want the Constitution to go away. Go ahead.
So it'd be interesting to know, because I never listened to it. I'll have to go back and listen to it and see what his swearing in ceremony sounded like. But this is what it should have sounded like, with his hand on the Bible. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully exercise the office. Well, this is the president. The office of whatever office.
Mayor, yeah.
Yep. And will do the best to my ability to preserve and protect the Constitution of the United States. There's a little bit more in there that they do on the lower.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to do what he needs to do to protect Sharia law.
Mm-hmm.
But if he did that on a Quran Bible, he's not even in office. It's not legit.
No.
Yeah, not saying it is, but it's where we are.
Yeah.
Well-
So if you go back, go ahead.
It's all of this is designed to wake us up,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
to see the corruption.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to escalate to wake the American, well, not even the American people. This is supposed to wake the world up.
World.
Right.
There are people in Australia that are waking up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We have a follower who tells us he's from Australia, and we have. I mean, he's just like, appreciate everything you guys say and do and everything, and then during the I don't remember if I said this before, but in a previous podcast, but during 2020, I was very active on Twitter. It was before it became X. Very active on Twitter. I was talking with people from Australia, and there was one lady in particular that I was talking to, and she was like, "If you guys fall, the rest of us know we're next."
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Because they don't have any way to protect themselves like we do.
No.
but it was during that time that I looked outside, and I was very, and we were all being targeted. Conservatives were being targeted big time by big tech, right? And I looked outside of my home, and across the street was this black car, and it sat there for hours with two men in it. And I was terrified, absolutely terrified. And because the reason why this is important is because I went to bed one night with like over 1,000 followers and following over 500 or whatever it was people, and woke up the next morning with none.
Wow.
None. I had no followers, and I was following nobody.
Wow.
And this car was parked across the street. And that car, it was a black SUV, and that car was parked across the street, probably off and on for like 2 or 3 days. And and every time I came out, I mean, I could feel eyes on me, and I laid low, so low. I was so terrified. So,
But yet we have free speech.
yeah, it was not free at all. So, but what I was going to say is, if we go back to the podcast number 8, John, where you talked about the Declaration of Independence,
Yep.
and in 1871, when the politicians changed our country's founding document to reflect the Constitution of the United States or a corporation, and
Well, the word "for" is the corporate.
for, I
Excuse
thought
me.
it was of.
No. Excuse me. Yep, you're right.
It's of.
Yep,
Yeah, I think for was the original.
it was.
And 1778 or something like that. It was 1776 that it became. I don't know.
I think
Go
you're
back.
right.
But it
Memory
was
serves me right.
1871 is when it went to Constitution of. So if you look at your little Constitution thing, does that say of or for?
It says of.
Okay. So that's the one where you said you can't find one that says for.
Nope.
So they changed it to Constitution of the United States or corporation. And the deep state, we've been talking about this, they want to destroy the Constitution of the United States and make it a democracy. I'm emphasizing this so much because it is a danger. It really is.
And the fascinating thing is, it is coming. And can we give John a bad time about his red state? Right? This seems like a good time to give John a bad time, because he's always bragging about how he's from Idaho and it's red and it's wonderful. And were you aware of the Supreme Court decision, or what
It's
went
not
before
a
the
decision
No,
yet,
what
but-
came before it went before the Supreme Court out of your great state of Idaho?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, they can't figure out the difference between boys and girls in sports coming out of Boise.
Yeah.
And it's gone. So there's two different. We just listened to this last night or this morning. I can't
I can't remember. I
Oops.
think it was last
But
night.
there was two different hearings or legal documents that were two different states. One was, I think, I want to say West Virginia, but I can't
Doesn't
remember.
sound quite right, but I can't remember.
Anyway, it's somewhere in the east. And the other one was Idaho. And how they combined these two because they're similar and put it before the Supreme Court. And we expect to hear a hearing probably late spring or early summer from the so this legal guy talked about how that there's like I'm trying to remember, there was like the lower decision, and it's like, oh, it's just, this is generally, maybe I shouldn't talk
Yeah,
about
I
it
can't
because
remember.
I can't remember really. But anyway, there was like a lower, middle, and high. And the lower one, pretty much the Supreme Court will almost always just side with, excuse me, I'm doing it now, side with however they the lower court chose, because it's logical.
Right.
It's a logical decision. But what he said was that the gender, I think it's gender, right?
Yeah.
Gender is under this middle one, and they want to take the gender identity
Yeah.
and move it from the highest one down to the middle one so that they can get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It basically moves up the scale of importance, or I
Yeah,
can't remember
I
exactly.
can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, but that's my point. It just seems like everybody wants to run. I mean, there's so many people from California, Oregon, Washington that moved to Idaho and moved to these
And
states
bring
that
their
are,
blue
that are,
politics with them.
yeah, but they don't leave their politics. And so people are kind of running out of places to run.
Mhm.
And I think that's an important thing because
And then you look at Florida, for instance, because it used to be a swing state. Remember when
Oh, yeah.
Trump, or not Trump,
Bush's.
Bush was in, it was a swing
Yeah.
state. And it was like, well, whether or not they're going to go this way or that way. Well, there's been so many people who have left California, a lot have left California and New York and relocated to Florida or Texas.
Probably small businessmen who were
Well,
conservative.
Mm-hmm. A lot of podcasters too. Conservative podcasters have just said, "Blip, I'm not staying here anymore."
Yeah.
And
Let's go to Florida.
yeah. So, but anyway, in the Bible,
Sonny would love the bugs and the snakes.
yeah, and the
Cockroaches.
and the crocodiles or whatever they are. Ugh.
Okay, sorry to make you lose your train of thought there.
So in the Bible, Darren and I were talking about this, is that we have God's laws that we must follow. Because the Israelites wanted a man king, then we went from one law to the Library of Congress. And this was all covered in a previous podcast, and we're not going to go over it again. But we went to a multitude of laws. So the purpose, and this was something Darren and I were reading again, is the purpose of Jesus. What Jesus said was that he did not come to bring peace.
Yeah.
He came to bring division.
Bring peace. He didn't come to bring peace to the world.
Right. He came to bring peace to individuals.
To you.
But yes, to you. But he did not come to bring peace to the world. He came to bring division.
Yep.
And we are now more divided than we've been in
To separate the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're now more divided than we've been in current history.
Can I
Go ahead, John,
Can I
sorry.
step back a second?
Mhm.
This is from Washington, D.C.,
Okay.
and it's actually the Supreme Court, on Tuesday appeared likely to uphold state laws that ban transgender athletes from participating in girls' and women's sports. And it's actually in West Virginia and Idaho.
See, that was the one I thought.
Oh, it was.
The justices heard more than 3 hours of arguments and a pair of cases challenging the laws from West Virginia and Idaho that require public schools and collegiate sports teams to be designated based on biological sex at birth and
Mhm.
restrict transgender girls and women from competing on teams that correspond with their gender.
Gender identity.
Thank
Can't
you.
even say
Yeah.
it.
Right?
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah,
now they haven't made a decision, but they've heard
Mm.
arguments on this. And this is where they said we can expect, and I think Justice Alito was the one that really hammered them hard.
Yeah. And it also says so a decision from the Supreme Court could have ramifications for more than half of the country. Idaho and West Virginia are among 27 states that have enacted laws in recent years to forbid participation by transgender athletes in girls and women's sports.
And they should.
So, absolutely.
Right. But
I mean, if you're a dude,
Yeah.
I just can't wrap my head around this.
I know.
This just
You're a dude,
blows
you
my
need
mind.
to grow a set.
Yeah, if you're a dude, be a dude.
Playing girls' sports, beating up girls.
Well, I mean, okay, so I'm a woman and I know I can do a lot of stuff.
I know she's a woman too.
I can do a lot of things. I can do a lot,
Yep.
but there's a lot I can't do.
Yep.
And sometimes I'm just picking up stuff and I literally do not have the strength to do it. Now, part of it might be I'm getting older, but and I pushed myself too hard when I was younger, but
She never plays the girl card though. Never plays the girl card. She's got a lot of heart.
so but anyway, I eventually sometimes I can't do it. I know I can't. And that's where it is without a doubt God made men to be stronger than women. And a lot of women are really strong. Don't get me wrong. A lot of them compete and build, bodybuilding and everything. But you take a woman against a man and he's got more strength. It's just
I think
But-
men.
biologically the way it is.
Go ahead.
But here's the thing. You take us men and try to put us through childbirth, we're a bunch of babies.
Yeah.
You're
They say
strong.
they can.
You're strong in the way that God intended you to be strong.
Right.
And we're strong in the way God intended us to be strong.
True. That's true.
And
Yeah.
we're both strong in physically, literally,
Yeah.
you know?
I think women are stronger emotionally than men. I think they can actually take more emotionally than men can take.
Probably.
Honestly.
Yep.
Men are physically stronger, they're emotionally stronger. But if you put the two of them together like God designed it to be, then you have
That's the yin and the yang.
Yeah, the yin and the
Yep.
yang.
It completes that ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So I know I kind of dominated this one a little bit, but it was because I really think you guys out there need to go watch X22. It's on Rumble. We've talked about this many times, but he puts out sometimes some incredible information that is it's just you cannot it's kind of like Mel K. Mel K puts out stuff that is so incredible. Sometimes you're like going, how in the world did you figure all of that out?
Yeah. It's mind blowing.
It is mind blowing. And the things that he does are just mind blowing. So if you get a chance, go watch it. I highly recommend it because he covers so much stuff.
Well, and there's only so much that everybody can say. I mean, honestly, we can sit here and talk till we're blue in the face
Right.
and not even come close to even scratching the surface of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it just like us, we get different avenues that we get our information from, because if we didn't, we'd be in an echo chamber. I mean, it can't just be between
Right.
us three.
Right. Right.
And so we're giving our opinion or what we get out of it,
Our view.
our view. Yep. And
yeah,
I mean, I know I sound like a broken record, and I'm going to continue to sound like a broken record, but dig. Just dig and dig and dig
Exactly,
and
right.
dig.
and if any of you have something that find something, a
Share it,
podcast,
yeah.
share it in
Share
the
it with us.
comments or something so that we can go search it out, because we would like to have as much information as we can to be able to give you real good information to live by and stuff to look at,
Mhm.
and so, and you've talked about, and we know you've also talked about Derek Johnson.
Yep.
His there's lots of stuff out there.
So I mentioned this, I think, in the last podcast. If not, it was the one before or real close to it. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. We have no excuse as American people for knowing
Or not knowing.
how to navigate
Yeah.
Right.
through everything. I mean, it all comes down to the Bible, and it all comes down to the 10 Commandments in my mind. And the rest of this stuff is all man-made, but we still have to navigate it. We still have to know it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so, I mean, the other thing that I want to say is I just would love to see more question asking,
Interaction.
more interaction. Yeah.
From the audience.
From the audience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we would too. We would like to see that. If you guys have questions, you guys have, if you like it, please let us know.
Even if you
Even
don't
if
like
you
it, let us
don't
know.
like it, yeah. Now we have, Darren has people that follow him and who are, very liberal, and some of them still listened. We even talked to a woman just recently, who's total opposite sides politically from us, but we have a really good conversation. We had a good conversation, and
That's how you learn.
so, yeah. So, but there's no reason we can actually say to someone, "I don't agree with you politically, but I like you."
Right.
Right?
Yeah, that
So-
has to do with going back to, I mean, if they're a decent person, we're going to like them.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what their politics or what their
Skin
religion,
color,
skin
religion.
color, any of it. It doesn't really
I'll
matter.
talk to anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Sonny made the comment here a bit ago that she felt like she kind of dominated this conversation, but that's kind of life, realistically. There's some of the conversations I'm going to dominate, some are John's going to dominate, and some Sonny's going to dominate. It's just life. It's okay as long as we kind of blend them.
Right. And that's
And-
why
Well-
I didn't want to exclude you guys. I just wanted
no.
to talk about, because there was such a huge dump of information,
Sure.
and especially targeting Charlie Kirk and TPUSA.
Right.
So,
Well, we've said from the very beginning that there's a lot there that just does not add up,
yeah,
and it
Right.
still don't.
that young kid.
Yeah,
Don't
no,
think
that
he-
doesn't add up.
Yeah, it doesn't
And
add
a-
up.
That,
And a 30-06.
Yeah,
Yeah.
30 out 6. Nah, he didn't.
You know,
I don't think
150
any of
yards.
us-
I've shot deer, 150 yards plus, and
Yeah.
I know
There's-
what an 06 is capable of,
tears a hole.
as do you.
Tears
Yeah.
a hole.
Yeah.
Um, Something else that feels important to say is, if you guys, we kind of touched on a little bit, but we would like to have some feedback as to, I mean, we can't even tell how many views we're getting. We don't know if anybody's even watching. Hardly. We don't.
Facebook has taken
Yeah.
that away.
But
yeah,
yeah,
they've
we can
taken that
see it
away.
on
X.
yeah, I-
but yeah, Facebook and YouTube.
YouTube.
But anyway, if there's things that if you can see things that you'd like us to be covering or not like us to be covering, then we really do want to know as to
Yeah,
what
speak
people
up.
want to see. I mean, we're having fun doing it, and so we're going to keep doing it. But
Yeah. And we really appreciate those who have commented.
Yes.
And,
oh yeah,
you know,
tons.
because those who comment, even if you're just saying, hey, I agree with you or I don't agree with you or whatever, there's some who are really good about commenting and we just, we would really like to have
That's what keeps
more
us
comments.
going.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody needs some input.
Yeah. So are we making a difference? If we're not, maybe we need to change.
Yeah.
But if we are making a difference, we are helping anybody to see something or
Are
to
you-
understand.
Are you sharing this with people around you? You know, are
Yeah.
you carrying the education that we're trying to give you? Are you carrying that in your world too?
And,
So-
and if you out there, look at us. We had, a few months ago, we had had no ambitions, or maybe I should say we hadn't put forth our ambitions to create a podcast. But here we are
Yep.
doing it now, and you can too. If you feel the need to do it, go do it.
Yeah.
Everyone has a
Do-
voice. Everyone has a
Absolutely.
message.
And
Yes.
we are the news now,
Yeah.
you know.
Because you're not going to hear the truth from the fake news media.
Nope.
They're not. The mainstream media is not going to tell you the truth.
I like using Russia's drive-by media.
Drive by.
That's funny.
So, anyway, we're over time. So, just wanted to say thank you for watching.
Absolutely.
Yep, thank
and
you.
remember to like, comment, share, and
Keep it authentic.
keep it real, and
Keep
keep
it
it
authentic.
authentic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love you guys. Bye.
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 Bye.